Most people live and die without much recognition or legacy. A few friends remember them. Maybe a story or two gets passed along. And that's it. But then there are people who don't just live. They leave marks on the world, but not always by choice. Some are born different. Some survive things no one should. And some don't fit into any category at all. You don't forget faces like theirs, or the lives they've endured. These are the 15 rare people you won't believe exist. Number 15. Zara Hartshorn. Zara from Rotherham looked decades older than her age, and not by choice. She was born with lipodystrophy, a rare condition that prevents fat from forming under the skin. Zara's face aged far ahead of her body. By 12, people assumed she was in her 40s. Strangers stared, kids bullied. Even bus drivers questioned her age. Her mother, who had the same disorder, recognized the signs early. But that didn't soften the blow. Zara hated mirrors. She carried a burden no child should. At 16, she flew to Texas for a facelift. Not out of vanity, but to reclaim her reflection. And it worked. After the surgery, she could walk outside without whispers or stares. She finally felt like the teen she actually was. Today, Zara speaks openly about lipodystrophy, hoping to educate the world and give strength to others living behind faces that betray their youth. Her journey wasn't about looking normal, it was about finally feeling seen. Number 14. Aliazia. This dancer from Kentucky was born with cystic hygroma, which causes large, fluid-filled cysts to form in his neck and face. Doctors rushed to perform surgery at birth just to open his airway. Since then, he's relied on a tracheostomy to breathe. Swelling returns every few months, often landing him in the hospital for relief. As a child, he was bullied harshly, nicknamed Mr. Potato Head and Quagmire by cruel classmates. But then, dance gave him something they couldn't take. "When I dance, I forget everything," he said. After losing both parents by 2020, life became even harder, but not hopeless. Performing on Louisville's Big Four Bridge, he turned pain into rhythm. For over a decade, he's drawn crowds and carved out a space online. TikTok made him known, but it's never been about fame. "I don't dance for attention," he said. "I dance because it frees me." His body carries pain, but his movement carries power. He is the most unique guy. Number 13. Mariam and Mia. Identical twins. Mariam and Mia were born with a severe form of osteogenesis imperfecta, also called brittle bone disease. At birth, doctors found fractures from their shoulders to their legs and told parents Rayan and Muhammad to prepare for the worst. "We almost lost them twice," Rayan recalled. After months in the NICU and guidance from specialists, the girls began to stabilize. Both underwent surgeries to implant metal rods into their limbs and now receive regular infusions to build bone density. At just 5 years old, they can sit up, roll, and feed themselves, milestones once considered unreachable. Their parents enrolled them in every available therapy, from aquatic sessions to weekly speech and physical support. Their progress has surprised even their doctors, showing a 50% increase in density. With their younger brother Yusuf now part of the family, Rayan says they're finally looking forward. "Our journey started in fear," she says, "but now it's moving towards something beautiful and stronger than we imagined." Number 12. Pixie Fox. This Swedish model took body transformation to extremes that most couldn't imagine. Inspired by cartoon icons like Jessica Rabbit and Tinkerbell, Pixie wasn't chasing beauty. She was building fantasy in flesh and bone. It began small, fillers, enhancements, little tweaks. But soon, she was knee-deep in over 200 cosmetic procedures, breast enlargements, cheek implants, nose reshaping, lip fillers, even changing her eye color in India. But the move that made headlines? She had 6 ribs removed just to shrink her waist to 14 inches. She wore corsets constantly. Her transformation cost over $500,000. Doctors warned of serious risks, organ damage, nerve injury. But Pixie didn't blink. She saw herself as an artist sculpting her masterpiece. Critics called it self-destruction. She called it an expression. To her, this wasn't an obsession. It was a commitment to becoming the image she had in her head since childhood. Whether you call it brave, bizarre, or both, Pixie reshaped herself into a real-life illustration of her own vision. Number 11. Ren. Ren is a 29-year-old TikTok creator who was born without elbows or hands, but never let that stop her. She calls her arms nubs and uses them for nearly everything: eating, typing, dressing, applying makeup. "I do most things my way," she says. Growing up wasn't easy. Some boyfriends refused to hold her hand, worried about what people might think. That changed when she met Timmy on a dating app. His humor and openness made her feel seen. "I like going in with an open mind," Timmy said. Together, they now make videos that mix humor and honesty, showing what living with a visible disability really looks like. Sure, online trolls still show up, but Ren doesn't shrink. "People with disabilities are far more capable than you assume," she says. "We just have different methods." Her videos have reached millions. What once felt like a limitation has become her loudest message. Confidence isn't something you're given. It's something you build, and she's building it in full view. So never complain. Just keep pushing yourself. Number 10. Adalia Rose. Adalia Rose wasn't famous for filters or stunts. She lit up the internet with pure soul. Born with progeria, a rare condition that accelerates aging, she was diagnosed at just 3 months old. Doctors said she wouldn't live beyond her early teens. But Adalia didn't just live, she radiated. She danced, laughed, sang, and turned her personality into a force that drew millions. People didn't follow her out of pity. They followed her because she was magnetic. On YouTube and social media, she showed life with progeria without masking it or dressing it up. She didn't want sympathy. She wanted a connection. And she got it. Her smile cut through judgment. Her joy was the kind that hits you right in the gut. Adalia reminded everyone that life isn't about length. It's about intensity and heart and refusing to sit quietly. She didn't just survive a rare condition. She lived with it louder, brighter, and more fearlessly than most of us ever will. Number 9. African Monkey Boy. Some conditions don't just affect the body. They come with a lifetime of cruelty. That's what one boy in a remote African village faced daily. Locals mocked his appearance, calling him monkey and keeping their distance. But his mother didn't flinch. To her, Zanziman Ellie was an answered prayer. She had lost 5 children before him and begged for one who would live. And he did. Despite his disabilities and facial differences, she saw only strength. Eventually, his story went beyond the village. The world noticed. Donations came in, giving the family financial relief and a bit of peace. Zanziman wasn't just the monkey boy anymore. He became a symbol of survival and devotion. For a mother who had buried so much, this one boy was everything. And for Zanziman, her love, the way she never wavered, was enough to keep him moving forward. Number 8. Jocelyn Wildenstein. Jocelyn didn't quietly alter her looks. She rewrote her own face into global legend. Dubbed the Catwoman by tabloids, she became infamous for extreme cosmetic surgery meant to win back a fading love. When her marriage started to unravel, Jocelyn turned to surgeons, hoping a transformation could rekindle what was lost. Instead, her changing appearance made her a media sensation. Her eyes widened, cheekbones soared. Her lips grew fuller, and the headlines never stopped. Over the years, she reportedly spent millions chasing a look inspired by feline features. People mocked her, dissected her choices, turned her into a punchline. But Jocelyn never flinched. She never apologized. Through every sneer and headline, she held her ground. For her, this wasn't about beauty. It was about control, love, and identity stitched across skin. She didn't fade into the background. She became a permanent fixture in pop culture's strangest gallery. Say what you want. Jocelyn made sure the world would never forget her face. Number 7, Sam Burns. If you've seen the movie Jack, where Robin Williams plays a child aging unnaturally fast, you've seen fiction. But Sam Burns lived it for real. He had progeria, a rare genetic disorder that causes the body to age at warp speed while the rest stays small and childlike. By 17, Sam's organs functioned like someone in their 70s. Still, he didn't slow down. He joined the marching band, played the drums, kept a razor-sharp wit and an even sharper outlook on life. A documentary called Life According to Sam shared his world and caught national attention. His favorite football team, the New England Patriots, invited him to be an honorary captain at a game. He never made it. Sam passed away before the day arrived. But he left behind more than a story. He left a blueprint for how to live with dignity, humor, and purpose, even when time is running faster than it should. Sam didn't just age quickly, he lived deeply. Number 6, Zion Clark. You've seen people on this list defy everything thrown at them, but Zion Clark takes it to another level. Born with caudal regression syndrome, he came into the world without legs. From day one, he could have chosen to shrink, to stop. He didn't. Instead, he built a body most people couldn't imagine. He trained relentlessly, turning his arms into engines. He moves faster on his hands than most people do on 2 feet. He became a competitive wrestler, then an MMA fighter. He set Guinness World Records, including one for the fastest handwalk over 20 meters. Zion doesn't use prosthetics. He says they never felt like him. He's never tried to fix anything, just focused on owning every inch of who he is. Now, he's a speaker, an athlete, a name that stands for effort without excuses. For Zion, there are no limits, just challenges waiting to be crushed. And he's crushed more than most people even dare to face. Number 5, Millie Anna Worthy. Millie Anna was born in South Carolina with a striking white streak at her hairline, identical to the one her 23-year-old mother, Brianna, has worn her whole life. But this wasn't a coincidence. That bright stripe has been passed down through at least 4 generations. It's called poliosis, which strips pigment from a specific area, turning the hair pure white. Growing up, Brianna got stares and questions, but she learned to embrace them. So when her daughter was born with the same mark, she called it beautiful. While strangers still ask, Brianna uses those moments to build Millie Anna's confidence. Doctors confirmed it's harmless, just a quirk of melanin, not tied to illness. But what makes it special is its legacy. That white streak isn't just an oddity, it's a thread that links them, a visual inheritance. And in a world constantly pushing people to blend in, this family carries their difference like a banner, proud, visible, and completely unbothered. Number 4, Tress Johnson. Some conditions are hard to understand. Tress Johnson's is hard to even believe. He was born with a genetic mutation linked to the Sonic Hedgehog gene. Yes, that's its real name. But it didn't give him powers. It gave him 2 faces. Because of a skull defect, Tress developed facial duplication, one full face layered on top of another. It was so rare, so extreme, even doctors were stunned. His parents weren't allowed to hold him. Any touch could cause damage. Medical teams offered to let him go quietly. They said survival wasn't likely. But Tress wasn't done. His parents chose to fight, through surgeries, uncertainty, and years of judgment from people who couldn't look past the surface. Every year he lived was one more than anyone expected. The road is still hard, but they never left his side. Tress wasn't a medical mistake. He's their son. Number 3, Zhueli Abing. Zhueli Abing was born in China with albinism, a condition that leaves the skin, eyes, and hair with almost no pigment. In many parts of the world, including China, albinism carries stigma and superstition. Her birth parents abandoned her at an orphanage. Her real name and birthday were never recorded, just estimated. At age 3, she was adopted and moved to the Netherlands, where she started over. But identity wasn't easy. As a person with albinism, and as an Asian girl in a mostly white country, she often felt out of place. Today, she's a fashion model, a UNESCO Goodwill Ambassador, and a speaker at the United Nations. She's walked runways, appeared in Vogue, and uses her platform to push back against narrow beauty standards. Beauty, she says, is about dignity, not symmetry. Her story isn't shaped by the family that left her. It's shaped by how she turned that silence into something visible, powerful, and finally, hers. Number 2, Aliyah Nasirova. Aliyah didn't set out to break records, but in 2024, she did just that. The Ukrainian-born woman officially holds the title for the longest hair of any living woman, 8 feet, 5.3 inches, and she's never cut it. Not once. What began as a quiet decision in childhood became something sacred. Over the years, her hair turned into a symbol, not of vanity, but of patience, discipline, and presence. It's not all beauty and fairy tales, though. When wet, her hair weighs nearly 2 kilograms. It takes hours each week to care for it, and she has to avoid tangles, doorways, and accidental tugs from strangers. On social media, she shares her world, not just glamour, but the work behind it. People admire the length, but it's the honesty that resonates. Aliyah didn't buy her beauty. She grew it and wears it not to impress, but to remind the world that devotion creates its own kind of power. Number 1, Louis Legend. Louis was just a baby when the world first saw his face. Born with Treacher-Collins syndrome, a condition that affects facial bone development, he couldn't breathe or eat without support. He had a tracheostomy, a feeding tube, and hearing aids strapped to his head just to stay alive. His mom refused to let that define him. She submitted his photo to a children's clothing brand. One photo turned into a campaign. Then came fundraisers, T-shirts, momentum. Louis didn't just model. He became a symbol of determination. His parents fought for surgeries only available in the U.S., but they weren't just chasing procedures. They were showing people what courage looks like when it's wrapped in soft skin and a feeding tube. Today, no one's sure where Louis is, but his impact lingers. He didn't ask to inspire. He didn't pose for applause. He simply lived, as loud, proud, and fierce as any kid could, on his terms. If you found this video interesting, be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for hanging with us, and we'll see you soon in the next one.